The most dangerous weapon in human history isn't a blade or a bullet. It is in the vast library of world literature, few works have actually redirected the course of an era. Harriet Beecher Stowe's 19th century masterpiece, Uncle Tom's Cabin, is one of them. It wasn't just a bestseller translated into dozens of languages. It was the spark that ignited the abolitionist fire across America. On a first read, you see the tragic, storm-tossed life of Uncle Tom and the agonizing reality of those whose lives were trampled in the American South. You hear a piercing but look closer, beneath the political surface, and you will find a timeless philosophy on the human condition. A survival guide for the soul that teaches us how to live with true strength. True superiority is like fine silk underwear. It is essential for your comfort, but it is never meant to be flaunted. A truly powerful person never needs to act above others. A noble life requires no decoration from the ego. Yet, many spend their lives constructing invisible hierarchies, believing that looking down on someone else somehow elevates their own status. In reality, the deepest respect is reserved for those who navigate the world with a heart of equality and genuine humility. This story teaches us that superiority does not come from appearance, knowledge, wealth, or power. It is born from an empty heart and a profound ignorance of one's own self. Set in the mid-19th century, before the American Civil War, the South was a land where the white elite ruled and people of color were reduced to mere tools of labor. Our protagonist, Uncle Tom, is a man forced to survive this suffocating darkness. After a series of misfortunes, he is sold at auction to Simon Legree, a man who viewed human beings. During the harvest season, Legree promoted two slaves, Sambo and Quimbo, to be overseers. One might expect that having shared the same suffering, they would show compassion to their brothers and sisters. Instead, they used their privilege to terrorize, lashing those who couldn't pick enough cotton and preying on the vulnerable. They acted as if they were the kings of the plantation. As the French diplomat and writer Joseph de Maistre once noted, no one can truly express superiority while looking at another with eyes of hatred or contempt. In his classic work, What Life Could Mean to You, psychologist Alfred Adler explained that this superiority complex is often a desperate mask for a deep-seated. It is a frantic effort to prove one's existence to a world they feel small in. Whether it's Sambo and Quimbo in the fields, a student at the top of their class, or a star employee of the year, that surge of pride. We see this everywhere. The city dweller looking down on the villager, the intellectual mocking the uneducated, the wealthy feeling better than the poor. In a society obsessed with the material, these feelings are common, but they become toxic when we require we see it in the person who constantly name-drops, the parent who weaponizes their child's grades against neighbors, or the moral friend who uses their kindness as a debt. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect in action, a cognitive bias where those with limited competence overestimate their own. Sambo and Quimbo were merely pawns in Legree's game, replaceable at any moment, yet they felt like gods. As Osho once said, the ego is nothing but the inferiority complex standing on its head. The more you try to prove yourself, the narrower your path becomes. Contrast this with the character of Augustine St. Clair, Tom's second owner. Unlike his peers, Augustine did not believe in the inherent inferiority of others. However, his wife Mary was his polar opposite. Born into wealth and surrounded by servants, Mary should have been the happiest woman in the manor. Instead, she spent her days complaining that no one cared for her. Her life was a constant exercise in lowering others to raise herself. She claimed to be a savior to her slaves, yet she separated a mother from her family just to have a personal maid. She would force her servants to stay awake all night, then scream at them for being selfish when they fell asleep. In her mind, she was superior. In the eyes of everyone else, she was a hollow, empathetic void. Eventually, her husband stopped listening, and her servants served her only with cold, mechanical indifference. Mary became an island, isolated by the very walls of pride she built. We see Marys every day, the person who returns from abroad and can no longer speak their native tongue without an affected accent, or the social media influencer who lives a lie just for a like. Their conversations are filled with I and rarely you. They thrive on finding flaws in others to distract from the flaws they refuse to face in themselves. They forget that gold plating might dazzle the eyes, but it never provides the warmth of a genuine fire. The highest form of character is to look down without pride and look up without shame. Consider the story of Scipio. He was a giant of a man, fierce and longing for freedom, who had fought off overseers with his bare hands before being captured and wounded. While others wanted to kill him, Augustine stepped in, bought him, and treated his wounds with his own hands. Once Scipio recovered, Augustine handed him his manumission papers, total freedom. Surprisingly, Scipio tore the papers in half. He chose to stay. When Augustine later fell deathly ill with a contagious disease, it was Scipio who stayed by his side until his final breath. Augustine gained this loyalty not through power, but by abandoning his sense of superiority and treating a lowly man as an equal. When you travel 1,000 miles and read 1,000 books, you realize how small you truly are. You realize that glory is temporary. Only by lowering the desire to prove yourself can you accumulate real power. As the saying goes, when you look down on someone, you are close to failure. When you respect someone, you are close to success. Uncle Tom's Cabin is more than a protest, it's a mirror. Augustine once told his wife, if we were in their position, we might not do as well as they do. We often wear our titles, our wealth, and our degrees as armor because we are secretly afraid. We decorate ourselves with material success because we want to be envied. But the more we decorate the mask, the more we lose the person underneath. Next time you feel that surge of superiority, ask yourself, what am I trying to hide? Am I craving validation? Am I afraid of being seen as I really am? From Uncle Tom's Cabin To Kill a Mockingbird, the greatest injustices in history have always begun with the feeling that one person is more than another. But when you treat the world with a heart of equality, the hierarchy disappears. You no longer hunger for the summit, nor do you fear the valley. You are no longer trapped between the extremes of inferiority and arrogance. As Daniel Goleman wrote in Emotional Intelligence, the degree to which you make others feel comfortable determines how high you will ultimately rise. Shed the invisible armor, strip away the jewelry of the ego, keep a heart of equality and treat others with the same sincerity you owe yourself. Only then will your path truly open, and only then will you be free.